The submersible's exterior lights cut through the midnight blue depths of Narius' vast ocean, illuminating particles that drifted like stars in the abyss. Dr. Alexei Volkov checked the vessel's depth gauge. 3,000 meters, and still descending. Approaching the thermal vent field, he reported into his comm device. Permission to extend exploration time by 30 minutes. A pause, then his commander's voice crackled through. Granted, Volkov. But not a minute more. Storm systems developing topside. Alexei smiled to himself. Commander Hayes was strict but fair, and he knew how valuable this expedition was. After 3 years studying Narius aquatic ecosystems, this unexplored deep-sea vent field could provide breakthrough data on alien hydrothermal life. The submersible scanners picked up something unexpected. A regular geometric pattern amid the chaotic natural formations. Alexei frowned, adjusting the craft's trajectory toward the anomaly. "That's not natural," he muttered, heart quickening as the lights revealed a massive structure embedded in the ocean floor. Crystal-like material caught the beams, refracting them in prismatic patterns. "Base, are you seeing this?" "Affirmative. Appears to be artificial construction. Proceed with caution." The structure rose nearly 40 meters from the seafloor, an elegant spire of what appeared to be some form of grown crystal, its surface etched with swirling patterns that seemed almost like writing. But what truly captured Alexei's attention was the chamber visible at its center, and the distinct figure suspended within. "There's someone inside," he breathed, maneuvering closer. Humanoid form, approximately 2 meters tall. He positioned the submersible near what appeared to be an entrance and engaged the vessel's docking mechanism. With methodical precision, he donned his pressure suit and cycled through the airlock. The crystalline material hummed beneath his gloved hand as he touched the structure's surface. To his surprise, a section simply dissolved away, creating an entry point. The air inside was breathable, a sign of advanced environmental engineering. The central chamber glowed with soft blue light. Suspended in a cylindrical tank of luminescent liquid floated a female figure. Her skin was pale blue with iridescent patches, her long hair the color of deep ocean currents. When her eyes opened, startlingly violet, Alexei realized she was alive and conscious. "Hello," he said, approaching cautiously. "I'm Alexei. Can you understand me?" The beam pressed a webbed hand against the glass. Her lips didn't move, but somehow he heard, or rather felt, a voice in his mind. "Thilia. My name is Thilia." "You're telepathic," he whispered in awe. "Only in close proximity, and only thoughts directed at me," came her reply. "You are the first visitor in. I have lost count of the cycles. Are you imprisoned here?" Alexei asked, now standing directly before the tank. "For advocating peace during my people's war of expansion. The Sovereign Council deemed it treason." Her eyes held such profound loneliness that Alexei felt it like a physical ache in his chest. Without thinking, he placed his palm against the glass, matching hers. "I'll help you," he promised. "My people have technology that might." A violent tremor shook the structure, sending Alexei stumbling. His comm erupted with urgent warnings. "Volkov. Proximity alert. Unidentified vessels entering Narius atmosphere. Military configuration. Get back to the submersible immediately." Thilia's eyes widened in fear. "They have found me. You must go, or they will capture you too." "I'll come back," Alexei insisted as another tremor rocked the chamber. "I promise I'll find a way to free you." "The coordinates." Thilia pressed her forehead against the glass, sending a burst of information directly into his mind. Star charts, planetary alignments, specific location markers. "Remember these." As alarms blared in his helmet, Alexei reluctantly backed away. "I will return. I swear it." Her sad smile followed him as he rushed back to his vessel. Above, unseen enemies descended upon Narius, and the memory of violet eyes behind glass burned itself into his soul, a promise he intended to keep, no matter the cost. The medical bay of the research station Artemis hummed with quiet efficiency as Alexei Volkov stared out the viewport at the stars. 7 years had passed since the Narius incident. 7 years of fragmented memories and haunting dreams. Still having the nightmares? Dr. Eleanor Frost asked, reviewing his brain scans. Alexei nodded, rubbing the scar that ran from his temple to his jaw. They're getting clearer. Last night, I saw violet eyes. Felt water, like I was drowning, but breathing at the same time. Eleanor's expression softened. The blast during your evacuation from Narius caused significant temporal lobe damage. Your memories might never fully return. But they're trying to, he insisted. Something important happened down there. Something I promised. His new position as xenobiology consultant kept him busy analyzing specimens from across the galaxy, but every time he encountered aquatic samples, those phantom memories intensified. Violet eyes behind glass, a name he couldn't quite grasp. That night, in his quarters, Alexei sketched the recurring symbols from his dreams, swirling patterns that might be writing. His hand moved almost independently, drawing a structure rising from an ocean floor. Computer, cross-reference these symbols with known xenolinguistic databases, he commanded. No exact matches found. The AI responded. Closest similarity. Deep-sea inscriptions documented on Narius, Sector 9. Alexei's heart raced. Sector 9, where he'd been injured, where he'd lost 3 days of memories before the evacuation. He accessed his personal files, finding fragmented mission logs. Most were corrupted, but one entry remained intact. Discovered artificial structure at coordinates 47.892 by 115.371. Further investigation required. A flash of memory hit him, a telepathic voice, a promise made. Thilia. The name struck him like lightning. Thilia. The prisoner in the crystal spire. The woman he promised to save. 7 years, he whispered, horror washing over him. I've left her there for 7 years. Determined, Alexei began methodically recovering what information he could. He requested his medical records, studied the partially recovered data from his submersible, and spent hours in meditation techniques designed to recover lost memories. Slowly, painfully, the puzzle assembled itself. The hegemony, a militant species from the outer systems, had attacked Narius that day, seeking something in the oceans, something, or someone, valuable enough to risk interstellar conflict. You don't have clearance for Narius anymore, his supervisor informed him when Alexei requested reassignment. That sector's been under hegemony control for years now. Restricted space. But Alexei couldn't surrender to bureaucratic obstacles. Not with those violet eyes haunting him. Not with the weight of a broken promise growing heavier each day. In his dreams that night, he felt Thilia's presence stronger than ever before. Her voice, tinged with fading hope. I still wait in darkness. Did you forget? No, he whispered to the empty room. I'm coming back. Whatever it takes. The Helios outpost orbiting Narius' neighboring moon bustled with smugglers, mercenaries, and those desperate enough to risk proximity to hegemony territory. Alexei, now sporting a beard and civilian attire, nursed a synthetic whiskey while waiting for his contact. Volkov, a gruff voice greeted him. Captain Dario Reis, a former military pilot turned freelancer, slid into the booth. You're either brave or suicidal. I need to get planetside. Discreetly. Reis laughed humorlessly. The hegemony doesn't do discreet. They've got sensor arrays covering every approach. I have credits, plenty of them. Alexei slid a chip across the table. And I know about that experimental stealth technology your ship carries. Reis' eyes narrowed. That information could get us both killed. So could turning me down. Alexei leaned forward. I saved your sister on Europa. Time to repay that debt. 3 days later, Reis' ship, the Nightshade, slipped through Narius' atmosphere under cover of an ionic storm. Alexei, equipped with an advanced diving suit, prepared to deploy in a stealth submersible. You've got 12 hours before the storm dissipates, Rise warned. After that, we're exposed. Understood. As Alexei descended into the familiar darkness of Narius Ocean, he wondered if Thilia still lived. Would an aquatic being survive 7 years in captivity? Would she remember him? Forgive him? Meanwhile, in the crystal spire, Thilia floated in her watery prison. Time had become meaningless, a blur of feeding tubes and recycled water. Her captors had long stopped regular visits, relying on automated systems to maintain her imprisonment. To preserve her sanity, she reached out telepathically each day, hoping to touch another mind. Any mind, but the ocean depths remained silent save for the primitive creatures that occasionally ventured near. She had almost given up hope when she felt it, a consciousness approaching, familiar somehow. Alexei, she projected, afraid to believe. Alexei's submersible lights illuminated the crystal spire, now partially covered with native oceanic growth. His heart pounded as he approached the entrance he'd discovered years ago. This time, he was prepared. Using recovered data and new technology, he interfaced with the structure's security systems. The entrance shimmered and dissolved, just as before. Inside, little had changed. The eerie blue glow, the humming crystal walls. And at the center, you returned. Her telepathic voice flooded his mind, stronger than he remembered. Emotion, disbelief, joy, anger colored her thoughts. I promised I would, Alexei said, approaching the tank. I'm sorry it took so long. Thilia's violet eyes study Alexei through the luminescent water, cataloging the changes 7 years had wrought. New scars, lines around his eyes, a determination that hadn't been there before. You look different, she observed, her telepathic voice cautious. I was injured during the evacuation, he explained, placing his palm against the glass. Brain damage, I forgot. Almost everything, including you. Her gaze held his, searching for truth. Yet here you are. Dreams, fragments of memory. Your name came back to me first. Alexei's voice cracked. Once I remembered, I couldn't stay away. The warmth of forgiveness tinged her thoughts, though hesitancy remained. 7 years alone allows much time for doubt. Alexei studied the tank's systems, now understanding the technology better. The hegemony controls this sector now. They're searching for something. For me, Thilia confirmed. My people's genetic memory contains navigational maps to worlds rich with resources. The hegemony discovered this ability in my species. That's why your people imprisoned you here. To keep that knowledge from enemies. To punish my refusal to participate in expansionist wars. I believe knowledge should unite species, not divide them. Alexei worked to understand the tank's control mechanism, using a scanner to decode the alien technology. Tell me about your world while I work. Help me remember everything. As Thilia shared stories of her oceanic homeworld, a profound intimacy developed, minds touching directly, without the barriers of verbal language. She sensed his genuine remorse, his determination, the risks he'd taken to return. He experienced for loneliness, resilience, and the spark of hope his arrival had rekindled. The tank's environmental systems are designed to mimic your world's oceans, Alexei noted, but they're also restraining you somehow. Neural inhibitors in the water, she explained. Without them, I could shatter this prison with psychokinetic ability. Their conversation flowed easily between technical discussions of escape and deeply personal revelations. The telepathic connection allowed a vulnerability neither had anticipated. Memories, emotions, and sensations flowed between them. When Alexei's hand pressed against the glass, Thilia's meshed it perfectly. Through their mental link, they experienced the sensation of actual touch. Her cool, smooth skin against his warm human hand. I thought of you every day, she admitted, even when I believed you had abandoned me. I'm getting you out of here, Alexei promised. Then we'll have time for everything else. Her telepathic laugh warmed his mind. There is much about my kind you do not yet know. "I want to learn everything," he replied with intensity that surprised them both. As night fell on Narius' surface, they worked together, him manipulating the external controls, her providing insight into the prison's design. Their minds remained connected, a bridge spanning species and time, stronger with each passing hour. "Almost there," Alexei muttered, reconfiguring the final security protocol. Hours of work had yielded progress. The neural inhibitors were neutralized, and Thilia's psychokinetic abilities were returning. "Wait," she projected suddenly, body tensing in the tank. "Someone's coming." Alexei froze, listening. Faint vibrations traveled through the crystal structure. How many? 3 mines. Hegemony soldiers. They're conducting a routine inspection. We're out of time. Alexei abandoned caution, overriding the remaining systems. The tank's liquid began draining, leaving Thilia standing unsteadily as the glass barrier retracted. For the first time, no barriers separated them. She stepped forward on legs weakened from disuse, falling against him. Alexei caught her, surprised by the cool silk of her skin against his. "Can you walk?" he whispered. Thilia nodded, her webbed hand gripping his arm. "My strength returns quickly. But the soldiers, we'll deal with them." They moved toward a secondary exit Thilia had described, her telepathic abilities guiding them through the labyrinthine crystal structure. The connection between them intensified with physical contact, thoughts, sensations, and emotions flowing freely. When the first hegemony soldier appeared ahead, Thilia stretched out her hand. The soldier froze mid-step, eyes widening in shock as her psychokinetic power immobilized him. "I won't kill," she told Alexei. "Not even them." "We just need to reach the submersible," he agreed. Together they navigated the tunnels, Thilia temporarily paralyzing the soldiers they encountered while Alexei secured their weapons. The escape became a dance of complementary skills, her telepathic awareness detecting danger, his tactical knowledge plotting their route. As they approached the exit, a tremor shook the structure. Alarm flashed through Thilia's mind to Alexei's. "They've triggered the self-destruct sequence. This entire spire will collapse. Run." They sprinted through crystalline corridors as fractures spread through the walls. Outside, Alexei's submersible waited, hatch open. They tumbled inside as the first sections of the spire imploded behind them. Alexei launched the vessel, pushing its engines beyond safety parameters. Behind them, the beautiful prison that had held Thilia for so long collapsed into the oceanic abyss. In the cramped confines of the submersible, they held each other, her telepathic emotions washing over him. Relief, gratitude, and something deeper neither was ready to name. "Captain Rise will be waiting to extract us," Alexei explained as they ascended. "His ship can outrun any hegemony vessels." "And then?" Thilia asked, violet eyes searching his. "Sanctuary worlds beyond hegemony space, places where different species coexist." His hand entwined with hers, webbed fingers between human ones. "We'll find somewhere safe. Together." Her question held vulnerability and hope. "I'm not leaving you again," he promised. As the submersible broke the ocean's surface into Narius twilight, Alexei sent the extraction signal. Above, the nightshade's lights blinked in acknowledgement. Thilia gazed at the stars becoming visible in the darkening sky, stars she had only seen through the distortion of water for so many years. "I never thought I would see them clearly again," she projected, wonder flooding their mental connection. Alexei drew her closer, their foreheads touching, intensifying the telepathic bond. In that moment, they shared not just thoughts but a vision, of worlds unexplored, of understanding across species, of a future neither had dared imagine during their years apart. "This is just the beginning," Alexei whispered as the nightshade descended to retrieve them. "Of everything." Thilia's answering smile contained the vastness of oceans and the promise of endless stars. In the space between their minds, the final barriers dissolved, leaving only the certainty that some connections, once forged, transcend memory, time, and even the vast differences between worlds.